Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And selamat sejahtera and good evening. Okay, we'll stay in business research method class. So we are already in week 9. Okay, before we start, we continue our topic in research methodology. I need to remind again regarding our tasks and assignments in order to complete in week 14. Okay, so this part already discussed, already explained in the week 1, but I need to repeat again, remind again. So because this one is really important to make sure you can complete this class. And for business research method is number 1. Okay, we actually have research template. Okay, research template regarding on the chapter 1. Number 1 is for chapter 1, alignment between research background, problem statement, objective, research question, and hypothesis. We also already discussed how to write this alignment during our discussion from video and slide on this matter. Significance of research also in chapter 1. Scope and limitation and outline in chapter 1. So number 1 to number 4, this is a chapter 1 template. You need to complete all actually. So we have 7, you need to complete all. Okay, for chapter 2, we have literature review metric. I already give you in Excel. Okay, based on our discussion, at least everyone need complete at least is 10. Okay, but I recommend if you can complete on your literature review metric, at least you have summarized on the 20 articles, but minimum is 10. Okay, we have also in chapter 2, it outline chapter 2. And then for chapter 3, just you make it outline for the chapter 3. Okay, for the number 1, okay, to number 7, I already gave you in the WhatsApp group. I have already have link, Google Drive link. All this matter 7, it should be you can upload and download from the Google Drive link. Already share in the WhatsApp group. Okay, this afternoon also I share that the link again. Okay, regarding to submit, I need 2 versions. So first version is Microsoft Words, another version in PDF. Okay, so this is a backup of PDF if I cannot read for the Microsoft Words. Okay, so should be submit in week 14. Okay, we go to number 2. This is a requirement for all the students also for your research proposal. Okay, I know that because you not complete yet your chapter 1 to chapter 3, but you need to submit based on your progress. Whatever you done in chapter 1 and chapter 2 and chapter 3, okay, should be follow the IPS format, our university format. Okay, actually for this proposal, no minimum and maximum number of page, but you need to write in chapter 1 because in order to give the marks, I need have chapter 1, chapter 2 and chapter 3. You can combine together, you can split. Okay, this one also I need Microsoft Word and PDF. Okay, for presentation purpose, I need you need to prepare a slide. Okay, slide presentation for 10 slide only, 10 slide only. So recover on the chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3 is okay because this is will be assist you, will help you in order you prepare on your proposal defense letters. So just to make it slide presentation, maximum is 10 slide. Okay, to cover on your chapter 1, chapter 2 and chapter 3. And number 4 is video. The video is actually you need to make a presentation. You can use this 10 slide for your presentation, but I need to the version video. So please send me link in the YouTube link. So this is very important. You need to link your YouTube link because maybe you make it very high space if you send the video. Just send me a link, a video YouTube regarding on your presentation on the. Okay, number 3 is slide. Number 4 is a video. But you can use this slide for your video presentation. So you can integrate number 3 and number 4. So all this matter you should be sent in the week 14. But I will consider to extend. But the first target we should be complete in the week 14th. Okay. All the assignment need to email to this one. Please make sure you email BRM is business research method fpe.oc@gmail.com. Okay, should be all, everyone should be sent this. Okay, I hope so everyone can email based on the one email. Don't send many email. So please send all the assignment just through one email. Okay, not all templates. I have detail on the Google Drive link, also in the WhatsApp. Okay, video and slide 1 week before class. I try at least. Okay, but it depends sometimes. Okay, and this is my weaknesses also because I need to prepare my slide. But I hope so I will give you the slide also. So this is the last time previously on the Ramadan with our class, but we come normal class on the Friday at the night. Okay, so we have the discussion. Okay, this is part another things. But the most important thing I need to share before we start our class on the qualitative method writing. So this method is really important. Okay, please hopefully please download, please save, please everything you get the right information. So I need you everyone is clear on this, and so don't have show the problem. So try to highlight, also try to inform that don't know about this assignment or something like that. I already explained in this information. I already give you in a group WhatsApp since week 1. So we also have the briefing video on this matter also. Okay, hopefully everyone should be clear our direction, because we have already in the week 9 for our class. So hopefully everyone already start to complete this matter. I think assignments number 1, number 3, and number 4 is quite simple. So template is just fill in. So in this part is a common methods lah. If you go to the class for research methodology, mostly on the assignment you should be send the completed chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3. All this method actually try to assist you in order to you preparation for your proposal defense in order to complete your chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3. But in this matter, in this class, I know that because some of you is first semester, so that's why no minimum and maximum number of page for cover on chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3. Okay, all right. Okay, we go our purpose today and to cover the next chapters, still in same chapter but different topics. So our topic is about I need to open the slide first. Okay. Our topic is on the how to write qualitative methodology. Okay, I need to share the slide first. Okay, same like before, you can ask any question related our discussion topic in the chat rooms. So you can ask based on this method. Okay, okay, today we just to look how that exactly to write in terms of good paragraph. Okay, so we should be right in one sentence until you done your paragraph. Okay, so we need to learn how to write the good way in the writing. We focus on how to write it in one paragraph. Okay, so today we cover in qualitative methodology writing. For the next week, we cover on the quantitative methodology writing. So here we have 11 example. I just choose and a snapshot the selected of the article journal that cover on the qualitative research, how that purposely they are write in term in the article journal. So it's okay because I need you familiar to read many article journals. We also need to publish the article journal. So I think that this is the good practice, common practice in order to understand and how to write in the qualitative writing. But this one we focus on the qualitative methodology writing. So this is an 11 example. Okay, this is a paper from Muhammad Asmi, Muhammad Tasker. Okay, for your information, this is a very basic knowledge. If you write the article journal, don't put a bin here. Don't put a bin, binti, anak lelaki. If you have doctor, professor, don't put in the front your name. Just make your name Muhammad Asmi, Muhammad Tasdaker. Don't put a bin or binti here. But so this is, I think, quite error. So don't put your bin in your name. Okay, because the article journal is straightforward. For example, my name is Nurul Fazli bin Habidin. Just write Nurul Fazli Habidin. Okay. Okay, this is the first article we need to explore in order to learn how to write in the qualitative methodology research. So this is a topic, a qualitative inquiry into cash wakaf model as the source of the financing for micro enterprise. Okay, so this is the title. I know that this title is maybe outside your topic, but the most important the most important thing we need to learn how to write for the qualitative methodology writing. Okay, this is a start. So this research methodology. Okay, the present study use the qualitative interview. Okay, they start the first paragraph. They are right. The present study use the qualitative interviews approach to achieve its objective. Okay, this is really important. I already explained last week before. So the most important thing, if you want to write in a methodology, is about the activity process and the procedure, and in order to achieve your objective and its expression. So one of the instrument based on this slide is actually they use the instrument and technique is interview. So we have a lot of the instrument to cover to get your answer based on specific research objective or research question. So in quantitative, we have survey and experiments. So mostly we have used questionnaire. Okay. Secondly is about the interview. Third is the observation, and then we have documents. And so we have this is a very basic instrument in order to achieve your objective. Interview, so they detail up. So interview we conduct with the experts from various fields across different related institutions such as Sharia scholar, practitioner, and academician. That's really important. If you still remember, last week we covered the differentiate between qualitative and quantitative. We have 25 areas. So in qualitative, which is stakeholders, you involve multiple perspectives. In order to get the answer saturated, you need to involve multiple perspective purposefully. So in this research, in this paragraph, they highlight that involved in Sharia scholar, practitioner, and academician. The purpose, make sure you are mute, so because I need to check everyone have mute, and so to make sure our class is going smooth. Okay, all right. The purpose was to develop greater understanding on the ICWME model and apprise its sustainability, applicability, and a prospect in the market. Okay. In this research, based on the qualitative analysis, the step in the qualitative analysis include, so all these matter, they are cited from the Creswell. Okay, Creswell highlight 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In step, and this is really important that I'm highlight, methodology is an activity process and activity, research activity and process in order to achieve your objective. So in this part, in qualitative research, they have step include number 1, preliminary exploration of the data by reading through, transcribe and writing memos. Okay, coding. Okay, so that's why in a qualitative, after we understand about the philosophy, approach, okay, we already understand on the choice, and then the research strategy, time horizon, and the technique. Another thing that you should know that after you get the interview, after you transcribe, the most important thing is about the coding. You need to code your data by segmentation and labeling the text. So in this part, mostly on the postgrad student, I'm recommend if you want to learn about the analysis, qualitative analysis, you should learn about the qualitative analysis manually. After you really understand the concept, then suddenly you need to cover another knowledge to study on the software. For example, we have NVivo and Atrusty, and this part is really important to help you in order to make it a coding in your research. After that, you can make it the team and sub team from your data or from your findings. Okay, using the codes to develop teams. So that I'm highlight. We start from the transcribe, and then we use the coding in terms of labeling the text. Number 3, you can use the coding to get the teams and from the similar code together. Connecting and interacting teams. Last one is constructing narrative. Narrative is the way how you presenting based on your data to make it in-depth explanation based on your writing. So narrative is how that you can show that to in the easy way, in the in-depth explanation to explain about your finding. In easy way, all people will be understand. Okay, this is a 5 steps in qualitative analysis that proposed by Creswell. The selection of expert was based on the propositive sampling. So in term of qualitative, they have several on the technique on the samplings. So they have propositive sampling, we have quota sampling, we have convenience sampling. So we have quota sampling, we have propositive sampling, we have snowball sampling, and then we have the volunteer sampling. So this is a part of the non-probability samplings, and that suitable most of the research in the qualitative. Propositive sampling is the one on the most common sampling strategy whereby the group of participants is pre-selected based on particular research questions. In qualitative, so in qualitative research, propositive is a common practice lah. In order you choose in your sampling technique. Propositive sampling size are often determined on the basic ontological saturation. So actually, it's not just only about propositive, but all the research in qualitative you should have the saturators. Okay, the point in data collection when new data no longer bring additional insight to the research question. Okay, this study, okay, the highlight their study focus on the expert sampling, which is subset of the propositive. Okay, when you read a lot of the, it's not a lot lah. If you read one book, another books on the research methodology, specifically in qualitative, you can find that some scholar detail out. So in propositive sampling I have type under the propositive sampling. For this case, in under propositive sampling, they have expert sampling. Okay, the expert from this propositive sampling were from the different institutions show that in table 1. So another tables. The selection criteria from expert were based on the tier qualification. Okay, make sure you are mute. Okay, okay. Okay, the selection criteria for expert were based on their qualification, area for specialized and working experience. So this is part of the how you selecting your expert. What is actually assumption of specific criteria in order to select your expert. In this case, in this study, they're based on the qualification, area specialization, and working experience. Okay, this is the first examples. So they are continue. They highlight the participant chosen for the study is follow the suggestion provided by most. So they give the citation and justification regarding the chosen of the participant that follow the most. Who recommend six participants for qualitative study? Okay, we know that quantitative they're using the large sample, but qualitative using the small sample. But from the scholar, from the books, from the journal, actually have recommend a range or specific minimum and maximum number to practices in the sampling. Specifically is actually regarding on the technique sampling, on the size sampling, but for your data collection purpose. Okay. Okay, furthermore, the selection of number of respondents also typically relies on this concept saturations on the point which no new information or tip are observed in the data from the respondent. The number of respondents has also been used that recommended by most by the other researchers such as Muhammad and Ahmad, According to their view, researchers work with a small sample to study the subject matter in depth, and it has sufficient to achieve objective of the study. Data collected during interview were described into field note analyzed by using thematic analysis. According to Brown and Clark, thematic analysis is a we go through on these tables. So they highlight on the 6 experts from the Wakaf Nur Corporation Berhad, Perdana Wakaf Malaysia PWF, Jabatan Wakaf, Koperasi Syariah Angkasa, Center of Islamic Development Management Studies, Small Medium Enterprise Development Bank Malaysia. Okay, I need to discuss on the ethics. Okay, before you write the institution name, you need have consent form. You need to make sure that you already informed the Wakaf Annual Corporation Berhad in order to write the institution or the company name. And also here, yes, you not put the name, but you put the position. When we can check, for example, you can check in the website. When I try to check in the Wakaf Unknown Corporation Berhad website, I will know that this deputy manager. So in this research, whatever we get from the finding from the interview, from the expert, that we can know that is from who. So that's from the deputy manager and Wakaf in operation. So you need to care regarding on the information, secret, confidential information from the specific institution is a part of the ethical consideration. But in this case, I believe that the authors already get the permission from the institution and the person in order to write this name, company and position in your article. But I think this part of the ethical consideration, you need to get the permission before you write the company names and the position. So because we have a few case, specifically low case. So for example, Wakaf Unknown Corporation will be issues us because you just write the company name without any permission from that companies. Please careful when you write the positions, okay, or the company names, okay, author also, the specific name also. So please make sure you need to care about the ethical issue or ethical consideration. Okay, method for identify, analyze, and reporting patterns. So patterns, so is commonly in when you write in qualitative, mostly analyze data. What is actually the output it can be present is a theme and the patterns. Semantic analysis was used in this study because the following advantage. So they highlight the advantage why we use these thematics. Ability to summarize the key features of the large data, highlight the similarities and difference of the data, useful in making analysis suit for the policy development. So it's actually depend on your topics and on your qualitative research method selection. So in this part, the using on the qualitative, use propositive sampling, represent under expert samplings. So the result will be come up with the thematics. So they highlight the benefit of the thematic have three. The process of thematic analysis involves selecting. So this is a process in the thematic. So they have selecting, simplify, encoding the data collection method. Common tip, follow the MILE and Habermas. So they highlight also in the thematic analysis involves selecting, simplify, encoding data collected. Okay, that's why today I try to show you example, little bit paragraph. At least we learn something how to write in part of the methodology. And we go today is on the qualitative methodology writing. So we know that the some of the scholar like Mile, Hannibal Burns, Brown and Clark, what else before this Creswell. So we need to familiar that this is a methodology scholar and they have highlight a few important things, important procedures, important step in order to achieve a process before you answer your research question and objective. Okay, we go through the second examples. These articles can change leadership impact on staff, organizational, citizens behavior. Some people call that adalah OCB. This is a common practice when you study on the management and business, on leadership on behavior, on marketing topic. Some of them study on OCB. OCB is not the new topic. I already know that my friends start doing their PhD 2002. Their topic is on the OCB. Okay, a scenario from Malaysia. Okay, okay, we looked at the first paragraph they are right on the research design. Okay, very short writings. This study adopted qualitative research design. In the qualitative research design, the research is interested in understanding event or situation. That's the most important thing when you are studying in qualitative, the regarding on the naturalistic, regarding and phenomenon, so regarding on setting, regarding on situation, the part of the qualitative research. Okay, okay, event or situation from the respondent perspective using flexible technique. We already compare if qualitative is flexible, quantitative is simplified in obtain information. So you is using the flexibility technique in order to get the information. So there highlight the scholar on the methodology qualitative from Frankel, Creswell, and Maxwell. Okay, population and sample. Population and sample. The population of this study consists of academic staff in a 10 faculty from the Research University Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, as the case study. So in this research, their research strategy is case study. Therefore, a purpose sampling technique was used to select 10 lecturers. So in order to choose lecturer from the 10 faculty, they're using the proposed sampling technique. Okay, one lecturer from each faculty. The selection is because they have 10 faculty, one lecturer in one faculty. So they have all 10 faculties. So there should be in this participant involved 10 lecturer in with the different faculties. To participate in the study, the sampling technique enables the research to deliberately sample appropriate person in particular setting for the right study. Okay, so in order to specifically on the sampling technique, they are follow the previously study. It's mostly the notes that these lecturers were from different faculty and situated in the case university. Okay, that the how they are right in their population and sample. Approach. Semi-structured interview protocol. So we already, I'm not sure that I'm ready to explain about this or not. But in terms of interview, we have three, especially. Sorry, I think this one I'm not cover yet. More details. For interview, we have three type: structured, semi-structured, and unstructured. Okay, in this case, they're using the semi-structured interview. Protocol along with the field notes and documents were used as the main approach to collect data for this study. The interview protocol consists of 10 different questions, okay, 10 questions with regard to the student objective on the change leadership and staff organization behavior on that topic, leadership and OCB. The interview protocol was subject to expert validation. Okay, this is the part another important you should be know in the qualitative. You should be come up in your thesis about the interview protocol. Was a subject to expert validation. It was assessed by 5 different experts, include 2 professors of the higher education leadership and management, 1 associate professor of education, 1 senior lecturer, and 1 expert in qualitative research. As a result, the interview questions were truly vetted by this expert. Okay, in order to make sure that from your question, interview question is reliable or validates, so you need to valid, you need to through the expert. So they're using 5 expert here to make sure that you bring very quality on the interview question. With appropriate validations, research can ensure that information obtained serve the purpose of the study. And that's important. Why you when you meet the expert regarding on your research interview questions, so everyone will be checked, go through and give some suggestion in order to maybe add or maybe edit, maybe you need to change or something like that. This all this matter and try to assist us to bring and to propose really suitable interview question in order to get the saturated portfolio. Okay. After the validation procedure, the elements of the interview was conducted with selected respondent in the faculties. Prior notice was sent to respondent request the fixed a convenience time. So this is really important when you want to interview specific people, okay, using the purposive, for example, using the purposive sampling, you need to make it rapport. So before you start the interview, you need to very good communication. So you need to chemistry and rapport very good in terms of relationship. Then you need to set specific time date for the interview. So this is a common process for the interview setting. You should be communicate with the participant, and in order to make sure that the participant are ready and willing to commit and willing to help us to bring really very good kind or specific answer for us to get the in-depth explanation from the participants. Okay, in establish the trustworthiness and credibility of this qualitative study, observation, field note, and document analysis were used in triangulation. So in this research, not just only the interview, so they are bring the triangulate. Triangulate meaning that 3 and above. So in this research, the triangulation is interview, observation, and document. Okay, Creswell notes the significance of observation, field notes, and documentary analysis in providing resource of data given the first and a multimodal distribution of research setting, additional to respond collect data from the interview. So in terms of triangulation, this topic is about triangulation lah. Okay, if in this situation, interview alone cannot get the saturated answer, so they have limitation, but in top up and additional from observation and document will be complement to the interview to make it better in-depth explanation. Okay, in the triangulations, interpolating the finding from the interview, the observation note for the interaction between behavior of staff, action, and leader in the university environment. Furthermore, documentary analysis cover so they have specific what is actually documentary they refer. So they cover the essential university document like university annual report, student guideline or handbook, and circulars. Okay. Okay, this is about the method for the analysis. Okay, this article actually we try to explore start the research design, population and sampling approach. We go to the 4.4 is about the data analysis. For the data analysis, the research took notes from the interview answer, field note, and documentary analysis. This study used the thematic data analysis, and each team characterized in specific aspect to change leadership and stop organizational behavior in the university. The common theme emerged from the participant answer to the interview question is through the field note and documentary analysis. A continuous reflections, okay, a continuous reflection process from this thematic analysis was followed by the research as interview were concluded by Creswell, Maxwell, and Denzip. Okay, so in order to make it team data analysis summary, also you should be have the technique. So in this article, they are followed by a few scholars from Creswell, Maxwell, and Denzip and Lincoln. All the interview material were recorded. Okay, from the interview, you should be record, transcribe, and analyze by using the open coding, Azure coding, and selected coding technique. This is a common practice. And when you do the qualitative analysis, so you have three, and you have open, Azure coding, and selective codings. A broad range of team recording participation opinion will adopting using inductive. So we know that the difference between inductive and deductive should be qualitative using inductive in-depth thematic analysis interpreted through individual perspective. In order to organize and manage data more systematically, the raw data were analyzed using, so this method they are using the software and Vivo software. Using the computer software help the research to find in-depth and detailed data the study main objective. In addition, the procedure for coding categorize the main theme of this study will guide with the ladder of analytical abstraction. And this one follow the Mike and Habermas as a framework for the analysis. So in order to make it procedure of coding and categorize, okay, based on the main theme of this study, so untuk dapatkan guide tu, we refer on the Mike and Habermas with the ladder of analytical abstraction. It's commonly you need to write in your methodology if you're using the thematic analysis for your data. Okay, we go through the number 3 examples. Okay, number 3 examples is actually from Sumayya Sadeka et al. So the topic about the conceptual framework and linkage between social capital and disaster preparedness, a case of orang asli families in Malaysia. Okay. Okay, we go to the methodology sections. Okay, qualitative research design was employed to examine social capital and disaster preparedness of the orang asli people in Tasik Chini, Malaysia. Okay, dia start with the explain on the qualitative research design was employed dengan dia punya tajuk. Qualitative research focus on different philosophical assumption. Okay, that's why we discuss on the philosophy. So you should be right also your philosophy research in your thesis. So qualitative research focus on different philosophical assumption, strategy of inquiry and method of data collections, analysis and interpretation is explain the meaning, concept, definition, characteristic and description of thing. So this one from the Birch 2007. Okay. This study has selected Tasik Chini as the area the most affected by frequent disaster, and no comprehensive study regarding social capital and disaster preparedness has been associated with location and people living it. So this one really important. Okay. This is a research in qualitative. In order to choose the location, you should be relate on your topic. So the best location to be answer your objective and research question, this is a right place. This is a purposive place. So in this research, in this topic, because regarding on the, we need to looking on the orang asli. So that's why they are choosing the Tasik China to represent on the specific topic. They explain also give the justification. Tasik Chini is a lake near the Pahang River in Pahang, the center state in Malaysia. The second largest freshwater lake in Malaysia where orang asli tribe also known orang asli Jakun live. Ni from Habibah. The population of this area approximately 500 people. Almost all of the residents living in the Tasik Chini are either indigenous people or Malay. There are 5 villages in the Tasik Chini, such as Kampung Gumum, Kampung Melai, Kampung Cenahan, Kampung Hulu Gumum, and Kampung Hulu Melai. Okay, Kampung mean village in Malaysia. Okay, however, Kampung Gumum was selected for this study. The word is most of the orang asli people live in this village. So this is a qualitative research. In order to go to the specific sample, you should be give the justification. So we know that in Tasik Chini, we have several kampung or village, but in order you choose only one kampung, you need to give the justification. In this article, highlight the most of the orang asli people live in this village. Okay. There are about 100 orang asli families in Kampung Gumun village from this kampung selection. 10 families were purposefully selected from the village to take part of the study. So this all 100 families were purposely be select from them. So gunakan 10 families. A family member from each family chosen participate the interview semi-structured interview that using the semi-structured were used by the research to conduct interview session with the selected respondent from the 10 families. Thus, the selected respondent were interviewed using a set of questionnaires related on social capitals, disaster experience, and disaster preparedness. This is based on their topic. Social capital was investigated using several questions that are related differentiation component and social capital. Harper 2002 divide major component of social capital. So this highlight on the instrument. So from the different scholar. Okay, I just go to another point. This study modify and categorize these key component relate the family function and social capital into different themes such as family bonding and relationship with the between families, relative and neighbor, mutual trust and mutual help among families, participation in various awareness, social and public program, network and connectedness, and social mobility of orang asli families, which is presented in the figure. So this one is how that this part will be highlighted and summarized on the social capital of orang asli family. So in social capitals, they have start with the relationship with neighbor, organizational member, social mobility, participation in public program, participation in social religious program, participation in awareness program, and mutual help and mutual trust, and relationship with family members and relative. Okay, they continue also by this study disaster preparedness, which was categorized into 5 themes such as safety, protections, knowledge and participation, quick response, recovery and community ability. So this one illustrate in the figure 3 from this conceptual framework and linkage between social capital. So from disaster preparedness, they have 5 actually: secure home and emergency shelter, social and community knowledge and participation related on to disaster, community ability, mutual help and mutual trust, property of food safety protection, life safety protection. Just to show with you that some on the thesis also, you should be come up the figure and table, not just only a text and paragraph too plain. So in order to make it your writing is interest, you should be include also and your table and the visual on the visual of figures. This study used qualitative data analysis. So this part of this paragraph explain on the data analysis, which is a process of noticing, collecting, and thinking about aspect of a situation being investigated by CDIL 1998. Descriptive analysis was used to examine the collect data, represent range, response specific questions. This analysis was administered under some major themes related on a social capital and disaster preparedness. The method of this study used a summarized figure form. Okay, they start with the qualitative research designs. Then you go through the data collection. So data collection, data analysis, and descriptive analysis is based on the key theme: bonding relationship, mutual trust, help, network and connectedness, knowledge and participation, early preparedness and response and recovery. So after that, there will be the process on the interpretation of research. So this is their method of the study. They highlight that the qualitative research design. Okay, from the designs, and next you go to the collect data through the analysis using the descriptive analysis. After that, they make it the interpretation of result. So we go to the paper example from number 4, planner perspective in governing and produce sustainable cities in Malaysia. So this is a topic from the Peter Enning Tedong and all. Okay, the data report in this paper come from the 3-year study of effort promote sustainable development in Malaysia city, in particular Kuala Lumpur and Selangor were chosen as a case study for the research. As the most developed state in Malaysia, Selangor and Kuala Lumpur has undergone a massive social, economic and political change. So in this first paragraph highlight also why they choose Kuala Lumpur and Selangor. So they have give the justification because why choose Selangor and Kuala Lumpur? Massive, because has undergone a massive social, economic and political change. Kuala Lumpur record that highest mean monthly household income and followed by Selangor of the median monthly house income. Okay, in terms of household size, Selangor had the largest number of households. Okay, while Kuala Lumpur household is kalau this figure from the Selangor 1.6 million and Kuala Lumpur 461,600 household. Okay, it's actually this information from KRI 2018. Therefore, we focus on research in 5 most developed local authorities in state of Selangor and Kuala Lumpur, which is Petaling Jaya City Council (MPAJ), Shah Alam City Council (MBSA), Subang Jaya Municipal Council (MPSJ), Kajang Municipal Council (MPKJ), and Kuala Lumpur City Hall (DPKL). So they choose the 5 developed local authorities: MPAJ, MBSA, MPSJ, MPKJ, and DPKLs. With over 4 million people, the local authorities explicitly commit the planning principle commonly associated with the sustainable developments. Therefore, this research review urban planner experience with the 5 local authorities following their initiative to adopt sustainable principle. The study provide valuable information about how sustainable city are executed and how local authority Malaysia negotiate with the different stakeholders. Okay. Okay. That this matter also from the sampling using purposive sampling. Okay, were interview 125 respondents. I think this one you should be strategize and discuss with your supervisor. I think that interview 125 people is quite numbers. Okay, so they are represent 12 planners, 100 urban residents, 10 members of resident associate, and 3 developer with the 5 local authority in between 2015 and 2018. Although we interview only 12 planners, the data was very rich due to respondent involvement with the government producing city in Malaysia. Okay. Planner level experience are vary from 2 to 20 years, and all them are in excellent position to give comprehensive view and feedback regarding the implementation sustainability. We also conduct document analysis to identify existing policy, guideline, plan program, and regulation related to Malaysian sustainability. We also analyze various document, material survey, new article in national media about the issues. Okay, in this part of the interview from the in-depth interview with the local planner, we encourage respondent to talk and free and avoid leading questions. So don't make it a leading question. That's why based on your questioning for the interview, need to check from the expert content and the for the qualitative research expert also. The interview took between 30 and 90 minutes, meaning that maximum when 1 hour and a half. 90 minutes, so 30 or 90 minutes, the range. They include questions, so they have a few questions, what's the understanding, so they have the specific question. In particular, urban planner respond to ongoing process sustainable city Malaysia examining. The interview with urban planner will conduct with the Malaysian language and translate to English. The output will transcribe, code, and group thematically. We conduct thematic analysis to identify themes in the coverage. Following this course analysis strategy, we identify the sample text accepts to illustrate key finding. We summarize some of the study finding using quotation to illustrate how urban planner talk about sustainable city. Transcribe actually have to give greater degree of accuracy in capture urban planner perception of sustainable city. The next session reflect a perspective offered by urban planner. Okay, just to make it 1 or 2 minute break. I need 1 or 2 minute break. After that, we continue. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, sorry. We continue because I need water. Okay, all right. From this fifth papers regarding environment-based virtual virtual interaction to enhance motivation of STEM educations, the qualitative interview design and analysis. Okay, sorry, I'm mute. Okay. Okay, we continue the article number 5 regarding on environment-based virtual interaction to enhance motivation of STEM educations, the qualitative interview design analysis. Okay, actually most of the example article I'm sure on this discussion is basically from the Malaysian writer. So it's actually more suitable on the our thesis writing technique because it's actually the authors are from local. Okay, we straightway on the method. So yeah, we know that the from one article should be have introduction, literature review, methodology, and analysis, discussion, and conclusion. But in this part, mostly I'm share with you is based on the methodology and little bit on the analysis. The interview aimed to gain the in-depth information from experts from the reliability and suitability of the identified component and underlying elements. Therefore, a semi-structured interview was designed and conducted. Okay, from this 5 examples, mostly of them using a technique interview as the tool in order to get the in deep to answer their research question. The most of them using interview is semi structured. Okay, when we already study on the last week and previous last 2 weeks. Actually, in qualitative, we should be explore and in deep explanation. You should be using a semi structured or the unstructured interview. Okay, we go back from the slide. Okay, we go back in the slide. The the interview were guided by instrument and protocol. The interview session will conduct from 60 to 70 minutes for each session. Okay. Previous slide highlight that 30 to 90 minutes. So in this case, 60 to 90 minutes. The protocol of this interview cover the following issues, and they have covered on the demography informations, environment assessment, and impact assessment. The interview session will record and transcribe, and then the transcript will undergo validation. Okay, talk about participant. Participants in qualitative, also we call that respondent, but mostly in the qualitative research, we're using the words is participant. If you are quantitative, you're using a respondent. The developing on simulation and visualization integration in STEM education model require close collaboration between the expert and in the 3 different domains. So in qualitative, regarding collaborates, teamwork is really important. So we have many on type on research strategy. For example, if you choose case study or Asia research, they have a lot of, you should be in terms of collaboration and teamwork should be high. Okay. All right. The purpose model involve the cross-disciplinary and suggested by Urban and Falfo. This may lead to different challenge. Therefore, the 3 experts have been identified and invited to be involved in this study. Refer to table 1. They had been interviewed based on their experience and the scope of their work. So this is justification. Informant A is the computer science professor who served as Disputed Director of Research Institute with over 100 publications in related area expertise. So this is some of the background of the participant. So from informant A, okay, they not highlight the name, but they highlight the background on the computer science professor, not mention specific institution or specific name of university. Informant B is a professor in education, former dean and faculty education, previously published more than hundreds. So to educate as well as compute assisting learning. So it also difficult to know that the person, the right person, who is actually this professor, and before this serve as deputy director. But we need to make sure, because in term of research, ethical consideration and ethical issue we should be very care. Okay. So go to Informancy is a senior researcher in Mineral Research Center, Department of Mineral Geoscience in Malaysia. And this one should be clear. So you should be specific on Department of Mineral and Geoscience Malaysia. It's not many in Malaysia. He said an active research relate to position and produce 7 simulation product based on the number of years. Okay, based on the number of years experienced by expert, show that expert informant involved in studies are related and reliable. Okay, this is a list of expert. Expert one, expertise is simulation and visualization. Position professor, deputy director, experience 20 years. Okay, I think that this is a way. If you choose the expert, I think that this is a good way on your summarize. Don't put the name of the company and institution or the name of the authors or name of the expert. You should be can show that the position. So the category, expertise, position, and how long about the experience. So I think this one you should be right maybe more than 20 years. I don't think that all the expert fix 20 years. Maybe the experience maybe 23 years, 25 years should be right more 20 years. A design and development interview protocol, qualitative research can increase the quality of research interview data by enhancing the reliability of the interview protocol or instrument. So that's why it's really important that we highlight also from the first example that from the interview question, we need to send to expert and in one of the part of the protocol and also part of the validation process. Interview protocol of this study design adapted process from the interview protocol refinements which proposed by Gary. The IPR comprised 4 phases, which is ensuring interview question align with research question. This part is really important. This one always I'm always also highlight this method to my student in order to check their research question and to make sure that all the question have represent on the specific research objective on research question. Inquiry based on the conversation creation, interview protocol feedbacks, and interview protocol pilot. Based on the proposed conceptual model, the interview protocol was designed, which comprised of 6 main parts of this one shown in table 2. Full list question and description were available in this link. As suggested as slowly, a pilot interview can be conducted to check that the question are reasoned. Our pilot interview was conducted with the 2 research to question appropriate for the interview question. Later, the real interview session we conduct face-to-face, and every interview are recorded using the audio recorded. So this also highlight that in research and qualitative, you need to you need to make it a pilot study. So you need pilot study in your research in qualitative. Okay, in this matter, the pilot go through from the interview section. How many? Two researcher actually, 2 people. So not only quantitative, okay, mostly quantitative. Yeah, they need some 30, 50, 100 people during their pilot study research. But in your qualitative, we need also numbers. So in this case, numbers is 2. Okay, no need to analyze that, but we need to check that in the pilot study, the participant will be clear and understand about the questions, and then the question and answer should be relate on our aim and can be answer our research question and research objective. Okay. The interview script was transcribed and refined using inscribed software before we using the primary source on data analysis. Then letters, the transcript will code into term, pattern, and code using the TI software. Okay, so that is commonly in the software on qualitative, there are Vivo and T. Coding was done by clarify and name element based on suitable having the same team group features. Finally, the analyze perform after combination and elimination of the codes. Okay, this is the item in the interview protocol. So if you need to know that how that the protocol from the interview, so this is one of the example. Yeah, go through the part. So part number 1 is demography, backgrounds, application and factors that influence usage of S and B, motivation level and process, environments, data, and number 6 is adaptations of current scenario. So for example, demography, the detail is name of the organization, nature of duty, period of experience. So this is a part of we call that protocol. And then another example, background. So their detail is question on current working environment and research related activity, question on challenge undertaking knowledge exploration and resources. So all these 6 parts, they have detailed questions. So you need to show that this all the item as your interview protocol. Okay, we go to the example number 6, a qualitative study on the implementation family health team, the perspective of provider and patients. Okay, the study, there was a qualitative study will explore the experience of the FHT. FHT is actually stand on the family health team. Okay, member during implementation of the ANPHC intervention as well the experience of the patient 10th month into intervention at the 20 clinics. So the process take a 10 month covered on the 20 clinics. This is ensure that issues during the intervention period could be explored, understood and resolved before the scale up the intervention in the future. The study was conduct 20 intervention clinic, okay, in the Selangor, 9 in Selangor, 11 in Johor, both rural and urban area. The 20 clinic were matched based on the locations, number of daily clinic attendance, numbers of medical doctor and family medicines. However, the physical layout, electronic manual information system and administrative setup differ from every clinic. The provided variation is feedback given by HSP and patient. Participants, purposive sampling as the technique was used for this study. The unit analysis for the healthcare provider. Okay, so their unit analysis is healthcare provider and patient who went to the clinic for the service. Okay, unit analysis also represent on the respondents lah. Some will be, what is your unit analysis? So unit analysis represent on your respondent or participant. The FHT sample population were HSP were involved in FHT service while the patient were Malaysia were registered and attend. So they are the explain. Okay, blah, we go to the next point. Patient were recruited for the interview by clinic care who identify the patient who were most suitable provide relevant information for the study, such as ability converse conversation in English or Malay. Will also include member for the intervention design team explore the intention. The sample size of patient will determine by data saturation. So in terms of how many sample is based on the saturation. If you go to the 10 peoples and 10 patient, so suddenly you get the same, almost the same answer that we can say that we can stop the interview because you already see the saturated. Data collection tool data for this paper were derived from the in-depth interviews with the clinic patient and focus group discussion. Okay, with the FHT and intervention design member who the middle level of manager with the ministry hub of MOH. Okay, data collection was conducted in the 2 round. Okay, that's why in research in qualitative is longitudinal. Okay, all 20 clinic were involved in the first round interview for the 2 months into, okay, only 8 clinic in Selangor and 4 in Selangor, 4 in Johor were selected in the second round, probably in April 2018. So this all the time in order to get the data during the process on the interview. So they have 2 rounds, first round and second round. Okay. For the FGT with the clinic, a set of semi-structured interview question was used to guide the interview. So this they're using the semi-structured interview. For the patient in the in-depth interview, the interview guide was developed. Okay, that's why interview guide developed also we need to propose in your research. Okay, develop based on the several psychology and behavior theory. So how that you develop the interview is actually from the interview, okay, from the literature before you need to send the expert before you go to the interview in the real life. The question focus on the understanding of the clinic service. Okay, this one to explain the specific topic. So we go through that for the interview between 30 on 120 minutes, and I think this is the length of the times interview between 60 to 100 minimums with the field notes taken by the note takers. Okay, so this is another instruments. So this is another the process in terms of data collection. They start from July 2007 for the commencements of the implementation. So go through on the 2 months, September to October 2007 for the implementation, and then another 10 months for the implementation during since on the April 2018. So they have the round 1 they already explained, round 1 data collections. Okay, they also have another round 2 data collections. First round covered 20 clinic, second round 8 clinics. So in the first round participant, this is the numbers of participants. So this is the participant for the second round. So this figure systematic diagram on the data collections lah. So we can know that the process about the numbers of round, actually they have 2 rounds. So that's as they have specifically numbers of the participant involved in this study. Okay. Okay, and just to share example by example, so we can get a lot of idea in terms of qualitative research writing. Okay, so we go to the number 7, addressing global sustainability challenge, a qualitative study and factor promote transformative learning in engineering students. Okay, we make it simplify. Adopting appropriate methodology is essentials. In this study, the research interest lies in how the participant perceive their experience in the engineering program. Okay, this paradigm assume that meaning is not discovered through the was inherent in an object by construct by human being as they engage with the world that be interpreting. So there's this paragraph to highlight that they're using a approach constructive and interpretism. So paradigma assume that it's really important to get the ideal and then to get the construct by humanistic. So in the research in qualitative, qualitative is humanistic. When we compare on quantitative, quantitative is scientific. Okay, there was no attempt at starting having any preconceived assumption for the factor contribution for transformative learning. So this is the reason. In view of this qualitative study, employ semi-structured interview that you're using the semi-structured interview. This method allows the findings surface from the participation themselves through the meaning they made their experience. In contrast, the study quantitative survey will limit the participant to choose from among the factors, predefine the research, and to merely assign the quantitative rating in this factor in the survey form. Okay, this approach will inevitably include all the factors yet identified by the researcher. Furthermore, the level of understanding will not be as deep compared to the qualitative research. So they try to make it comparison between the beneficial of the quantitative and qualitative. So that's why in qualitative that should be really a humanistic. So the participant involved is based on their experience, and then we can know that all the finding is actually based on the participant view. It's not from the research view lah. Okay, transferability. Okay, transferability refer to extent to which the result of one study can be transferred to and apply other context or setting with other respondent. Okay, transferability is assist through the providing thick description of the participant, the context of research process that's enabling the reader to assess and finding the transferable on their own setting. Okay, and this is one to explanation on the transferability. Okay, sampling. So in this article also have specific section to discuss on the sampling. For qualitative research, it improves to understand complex human issue, take precedence over the generalizability of result. In this qualitative study, in-depth understanding of the phenomenon was desired rather than statistical generalized. So this one to still into general. So they're using the purposive sampling. This method sampling employ purpose selection information risk case from which research can learn much about the issue for the central important. Okay. In addition to knowledge and experience, the participant ability to willingness to participate. So this is give the reason in terms of knowledge, experience. Okay, that's the most important thing in qualitative based on the knowledge and experience. The participation ability to willingness to participate. So how that the keyword of ability and willingness along with the ability to communicate their experience and opinion and articulate expressive and reflective manner and equal important. That's why I'm highlight that the chosen the right people to make interview, you should be bring the first thing first, first impression. You need to go to the how to make it the rapport in terms of you have very good communication to them, and then to make it a flexibility to select the interview date and times, and in order to give the I think that the honestly and this one the highlight give the opinion in articulate and expressive and reflective. Okay, Then another thing is selection interview participant list below. So this the participant details. There are type proposed sampling that does exactly this. Okay, this authors, although this was not purpose of this study. Okay, so they have the reason lah they choosing on the participants. Okay, the description of each participant is provided detailed in the tables and based on the sample size and qualitative study is recommend sample of the point saturated. That is when no new information on the forthcoming from the new sample unit, the sample can be determined. Okay, this is a part of the when you declare that on the size sample, so you highlight that you should be, we can stop the interview section because you have already achieved the saturated. Okay. So this one highlight also the interview. So interview was conduct whenever they identify the interview agree to participate. So that's why you need to get the permission and agree matters before you go to the interview. A consent form was emailed to each participant several days and prior to the interview, allow them adequate time to digest the content. That's why I highlight the flexibility. Okay, we already discussed the same thing from the example others before. Example, there was no incident or participation refused to sign and wanting the withdrawal. Okay, that's why the communication really important. Okay, we go through the example number 8, qualitative validation of the financial affordable Islamic home financial model. Okay, I just make it short because if this case examples explanation is quite same number 1 to number 7, I just to skip because already discussed. Okay. Okay, research methodology, they start on their writing, they highlight that the aim of this study is to collect extensive data. First, regarding the issue faced with the current institutional framework. Second, regarding suitability, applicability, and prospects of the topics, models. Okay, for implementation in Malaysia, the question presented, the interview were designed answer the following question. Okay, if you still remember that the first article example that I already highlight, the most important thing, I think the sounders, not the sounders, Creswell highlight why you need very specific question, because you need to answer your research objective and research question. In order to discuss on the research activity and research process, the selection of the data collection, sampling, and the analysis, the most important thing that this can be answered on your objective and research question. The paper followed the recommendation by guests and Maltruts that propositive sample of 6 to 10 informants. So they involve 10 people, okay, with diverse experience might provide sufficient information for the interview-based study. The selection criteria for experts were based on their qualifications. So when you choose numbers for your interview, you need to explain the background from the selection from the expert also. In this case, it based on the qualification, area specialization, and working experience. This is quite common. Okay, for others, article also highlight these 3 matters and qualifications, specialized, and the experience. Meanwhile, in terms of number informant, what we're choosing for the study, the authors adopted 5 consensus theory by Romney. Okay, they give the justification also in order to pick up and then to mention, to inform that specific number, you should be have also justified from the authors also, previous study also. Consensus theory is based on the principle that experts tend to agree more with others than novice and use on mathematical proof to make it a case. Okay, so in order to know about something, then rather you just to randomly people or using a statistical, I think that you cannot get the very in-depth process or in-depth explanation. That's why in this part, follow the consensus theory, you should be through the expert. Okay. Romsey also highlight that small samples are sufficient in providing complete accurate information with particular culture context as long as informant were expert in domain inquiry. Okay. If you are noticed, why I try to show you example by example. Okay, when you write the methodology in a qualitative, you should be know the style on the writing. So in this method also this method also relate on your proposal defense. So the panel will ask you why you choose this technique, why you choose the number, what the reason, why you choose to make it this way, why and why. So you need to know that a lot of the justification here At least you can get the idea, or in this case, we can using this justification. Okay. The interview will conduct between December 2015 and July 2016. So the date also very important. So some date you should be reflect on your study. And because for example, nowadays we're facing on the COVID-19 issue. So in terms of periods or how long you want to get the data is actually depend on the setting in your research. For example, if you are research now in the hospitals, on the clinic, I think that the challenge and obstacles maybe you facing is quite high. Also on the in terms of education also, and we know that everyone try to make an interview at the school as the to make sure that you want to the naturalistic setting, but the most important thing is actually everyone need to protect themselves because COVID-19 is not just normal and a normal thing, but it's very hard criticals. So everyone need to care themselves before we think about to commit our interviews. Okay, so this is a challenge and obstacle we face right now. Okay, number 9, this one is about the regarding the topic from Haslinda Tohid and all. Is actually based on the quantity of asthma care at the university-based primary care clinic, audit of process, structured and outcome. Okay, it's about the quality asthma care. Okay, method. This was a retrospective study conduct at a university-based primary care clinic in Kuala Lumpur. The retrospective data were collected over 4 weeks in July 2018. Okay. Thanks, patients were intervals, medical record were excluded due to the absence of the asthma register. Patient with bronchial asthma were identified through the pharmacy data system. So they have system MediPro. So R meaning that register. So this is the trademarks. A list patient who were prescribed in inhaled salbutamol in year 2007 was retrieved from MediPro. So this one really important. This one part of the ethical issue also. So if you put the branding or the name of the company have already registered a trademark, you should make sure that your writing should be MediPro registered. So you should be follow. If their register is MED, P is actually huruf besar, that it should be rewrite the same thing also. Okay, also the part to represent our ethical issue. Okay, there in 2017 there was 710 patients prescribed in inhaled salbutamol. Only 430 patients were identified to be adult patients with chronic asthma who meet the study criteria. Okay, in terms of study on patient or clinical of the hospital and regarding on the player, doctor, nurse and patient. So the most important thing the research you need to go to the ethic board first. Okay, to get the permission to get the data from the patient, for example, it's not easy, but you need to follow the process. They have level and level to get the permissions. And that the challenge on research on part of the hospital and clinic and patient also. Okay, so this is the flow of the study. Okay, this sound like the research design. So first thing first, they identify target populations, and then we know the target populations, okay, that they are excluded from the study based on the missing and the less on 18 years. Okay, they are straight away, they are more to specific on the population. 430 patients will be chronic asthma to meet their study criteria. Data from 430 patients were retrieved and analyzed. So this is a flow the study. So they highlight that I straight away that I'm highlight in the red ones. For this study, the standard target for indicator present and structure was 100%, 80%, and the standard target for the indicator for outcome was 100%. Okay, this is the scholar. Okay, so this topic about the I think that for our class business research method is actually the writing a more specific on the clinical side. Okay. Okay, I think I try to describe, try to simplify. Okay, this is another point, important thing. Okay, the data was entered into SPSS. So another, this research not just only on covered on qualitative, that using the descriptive also and not descriptive. I think this study is a mixed method. The study retrieve ethical approval. That the highlight is really important. So in research in a hospital and clinic, you need to get the ethical approval. So in this research, the study received ethical approval from Research Ethics Committee from Universiti Kebahan Malaysia. Permission to conduct the study at the primary care clinic will also obtained from the head family medicine department and clinic coordinator. Confidentiality of the patient was ensured through the data collection. Okay, that's why I'm highlight that when you study on the hospital, ethical board and ethical approval is a must. Okay, so this is example number of tens articles and of life vehicle management comprehensive review. In this study, content analysis. Okay, content analysis was inspired to review the literature. Content analysis is comment is actually a review from the document and the text. So that they make it a synthesize. That's why they are using the research strategy on the content analysis. Content analysis or CA is a research technique based on the interpretation and coding text material to convert qualitative data into qualitative data. Okay. Furthermore, only peer-reviewed publications sound like SLR study, systematic literature review. They actually derive from the search engines for SCS publication, SCA library, SMED digital library, Cambridge Journal, EBSCOhost, Emerald, Google Scholar. They have a lot. Publisher database. Publication will search with the keyword, so they're using the keyword end of life vehicles, just using one keyword, but a lot of multiple of publisher. In addition, the reference site is relevant literature examine to find additional source information. So they're using on the way like technique on the systematic literature review. Okay, being complex multidiscipline subject, okay, for instance, semi-classic publication relate to LCB recycling into three major categories. So they are specific on the keyword, vehicle recycling practice, worldwide, legalization-oriented research, and remanufacturing and material recycling. Okay. So Chin and Kusaki cluster reverse logistic accessible study based on network. So this is their content. So I'm just skip. Okay, the major classification of the study, okay, they are right in their methodology. The publication were classified in the four major category: literature review survey, so recycling, production planning, network design, and for regulation review. So this is a major classification: literature survey (LS), recycling, production and planning (RPP), network design (ND), and regulation (RR). Okay, they are highlight also, sorry, they are come out also, they are propose also the major classification of the review publication. So based on the figure. So they are come out the figure also based on the major classification. So the last one, and so from the, we learn something from methodology writing on the qualitative research. These are the last articles we need to discuss. Innovation management practice, review and guidance for future research in SMEs. So the methodology explain the scoping review, sound like SLR activity also. In SLR, we have the scoping review protocol applied this article. So this not the real data analysis, but the process on the reviews. Okay, the guide by the methodology and methodology of McAdoo et al. This article aims summarize the innovation management practice using different kind companies, focus on small, medium-sized enterprise. Okay, the study article, so this part of when this we call that content analysis also. So SLR also the part of the qualitative research. That's why I just share two article number 10 and 11. It's actually based on the review articles using the content analysis that this, but they are using the analysis on qualitative synthesis. Okay, this article is article from 2012-2019. Actually, a few of database corpus were outside and ProQuest. This one database EBSCOhost and ScienceDirect database. Okay, they're using a term of innovation management practice. Okay, we use theoretical sampling, complement challenge existing the literature. Okay, article consider both innovation management practice in their practical. So according to Sattler, state that in the field of innovation management, is particular the extent literature review have to use clear research structure or framework in identification issue that need to resolve the next analysis. But they cannot provide assure the valid recommendation about the success factor innovation management. So this is a justification lah, belong to research gap. Why suddenly you need to in deep a review in this matter because not many people covered. Okay. The underlying rationale of collecting articles start 2012, publish a meta-analysis review. This is a sound analytic technique. So another part of meta-analysis review. Meta-analytic is something like more deep compared to SLR because they also need to summarize the specific result. Okay, specific result they need to summarize and highlight. Okay. Next, this criteria were expected to collect appropriate data for completing existing literature review. Okay, that's just only 11 example article we discussed. Okay, to cover all the instrument methods in the qualitative, such as interview, observation, and documents. We also explore in the last two article on the literature review sound like systematic literature review technique in order to make it qualitative synthesis writing. I hope so. A lot of the paragraph here, we can get the beneficials on that previous writing technique. So we can apply, you can adapt, and then you need to explore and explore. So I believe that you have many related article journal matching in your topics. So please go through sentence by sentence and paragraph by paragraph in order to know what is actually the suitable way in your writing technique, specifically in the methodology chapter. Okay, please, if you have any question, please ask the. Okay. Anything you want to ask regarding our discussion today? Just to show you the example from the qualitative methodology writing. Any questions? Okay. Okay. The qualitative analysis can help to develop teams. Can Dr. explain more about this part? Thank you. Okay. This one, Saiful. Okay. The most important thing. Okay. I have tried to reflect from previous class also. You have already know that 25 things differentiate between qualitative and quantitative. In qualitative, we call that theory buildings. You still remember that from the inductive approach, and then from the bottom up, all the finding, everything journey in qualitative start from the data analysis and discussion. Why we call that thematic analysis in part of the qualitative research? Okay, after you have specific question interview, for example, okay, after validate from the expert through the pilots and then go to the real study, you make it interviews based specific numbers and specific time. Okay, after you get the raw data, you buat transcribe. Okay, after transcribe, you can make it analysis using manual or software like Atlas TI and NVivo. From that, from the data, from the result, from the participant, then you can transcribe and then you can summarize. We can call that the theme. Theme is something like that. Okay, if you use a theory, okay, if you're using a theory or model or framework already done, you just using theory or model or framework that already done, you know that this theory have 4 variables or 3 factors. But in qualitative, when you go, for example, you have 10 interview, you interviewed A, B, C until J, 10 people. So everyone give the arrangement. Everyone try to give their opinion, their experience, their knowledge on that matter. So we as a researcher, when we go through the transcribe process and analysis, we can come up the theme. So based on the answer, we can know that we need to meet from the expert view also. We conclude finally is actually we come up a team and sub-team. So this is this method that how that from the qualitative research, from the interview, suddenly we can get a lot of enriched data. Banyak data tu when we can summarize by tema, by team. Oh, from this 10 interview, we can summarize. Everyone agree that this method A is the one team. But in order to understand about this team, so they have sub-team to understand about this. For example, they are study about the university. Suddenly from the interview, everyone highlight that to success this university because of the leadership. So every people in the 10 people interview highlight that leadership. So leadership is the first our teams. And then from the interview also we notify that the most success in university is about customer satisfaction. So the second tip is customer satisfaction. So in order to clear what is customer satisfaction, yeah, the tip is customer satisfaction, but the sub tip under the customer satisfaction, we should be know about the loyalty. How important on the strategy of feedbacks. So that's another the sub team from the team customer satisfaction. So how to get this? How to get that? How to know that? Or in this case, you should be know that leadership is important, customer satisfaction is important. It's actually based on the result from the participant, from that people you are interview. All the answer is not depend on the researcher. So we only instrument, all answer belong to our participants. So finally we can know that, oh, in this topic, some people call these factors, this dimension, or based on your interview, we can summarize 10 factors important thing, but in qualitative analysis, we call that this theme. The name is theme. Bahasa Melayu, we call that tema. Okay? Okay, Saiful, eh? So in qualitative, if you need to narrow about the explaining on the qualitative data analysis, you should be learn three methods actually. First about the how that we call that text. So this actually belong to synthesize. Number one is synthesize. Number two is about the pattern. Some of research in qualitative we can know that we call that pattern. In Bahasa Melayu we call that corak. Number three is tema or themes. So these three method lah: synthesize, qualitative synthesize. So we have the qualitative patterns, then we have the qualitative themes. So these three things that you need to familiar in the qualitative analysis. Okay. Okay. So this your questions actually we refer for the following week. So after we cover qualitative methodology writing, so then following week we cover on quantitative methodology writing. So the next one we cover on the specifically on the qualitative analysis and quantitative analysis. On that matter, I just go through that in this part lah. But I just to highlight everyone. So something on this our class, I'm not try to cover too much on analysis because the first objective this class business research method is try to assist and help you in order to propose chapter 1, chapter 2 and chapter 3 for your preparation during your proposal defense. So this is really important. That's why I'm not really cover in deep cover on the part of analysis. I think in UPSI also we have another class. You can enter the class for the qualitative analysis and quantitative analysis. For the next class, you can learn many things about the analysis. For our class, my aim actually try to make it rigorously in terms of methodology. So I know that some of the lecturer straight away focus on the methodology, but I think that in our class should be start beginning. We know that the database thesis, database article, we should go through chapter by chapter. That's why I'm go to chapter 1, go through and chapter 2. But more focus actually we need to cover on the methodology. That's why start a week 8 until week 14, most of the discussion was actually in the methodology. Okay. Okay, thank you Saiful. Terima kasih. So others people, so ada soalan lain? Okay. It's quite macam it's not just boring, but sometimes we need to know that what's people writing in their articles. So that's why we call that, we try to bedah lah. We go through sentence by sentence, paragraph by paragraph. But for me, this is really important lah because we still new in this area and we still a new researcher. Some we have trouble, some difficulty in order to write in one paragraph. That's why we need to refer a lot and and many article journal, and to make sure that whatever we write, we know that why this we write this sentence, why need write the justification whatever I'm doing. Okay, why this matter is the right way, because most of the authors also write the same thing. So we try to make it a pattern and style in terms of writing in qualitative research. That's why we need to split discussion on this week only in qualitative. Next week we go to the quantitative. Eh? Okay. Any questions? Any questions? Some from us actually still not join our class. I quite worry, and I quite worry. So our total numbers is only 16, and include me 17, and maybe but you need to remind your friends so to join our class, because this class is really important. Okay, PhD and master by research is different courseworks, and coursework you just join a class, do the assignment, exam oriented, suddenly you get a pass. But for the research journey, since semester 1, the subject you need to cover time to time is research methodology. It's difficult to difficult to understand research methodology. Just read one books, or you just go to one class or two class, you then suddenly you are expert in research methodology, because research methodology keep change, and then is actually everyone have specific topic, specific problem. So in order to find that most suitable research design, sometimes it's not easy. That's why we need to really understand. I'm also still study. I'm also still read books on research methodology. I try to increase my experience also in order to make much clear what actually. So I'm the lecturer, so I need to cover more and more, because I know that the student will be cover educating. The student maybe face different way, so maybe I'm lack on experience on that. So in order to cover on the experience, I will need to increase my knowledge. Okay, I hope so. My student also cover many things on the research methodology, not just only read books, but also need to read article journal. So actually article journal make a summarize. Some the article journal make very good, better explaining, in better writing, too easy to us to understand certain topic. But sometimes you need also read a book on research methodology, because research methodology, their explanation is more deep. But the problem research methodology, they are more theoretical. They are not applied. So once you read article journals, okay, some of the article journal is actually more specific on our topics. So it's easy to understand why we need choose expert, why we need to do the pilot study in qualitative, what the numbers, how long the interview, so why we need the protocol, why we need the expert. So every this matter will be explained in this article. Okay, all right. If you don't have any questions, so thank you very much for your commitment, for your times. So we continue for the next weeks for cover on the quantitative. So several example article will be discussed in order to understand the flow about the start for the research design until the research analysis for quantitative methodology writing. Okay, thank you again your time and your commitment. So see you in next week. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum dan selamat siang.